Welcome to Calming Harp, the sounds of David's Psalms. I'm glad you've joined us for this brief moment we share together. I will be playing some of the music that has been brought out of the Psalms. My name is Steve Reese. I play the harp, and over the last several years I've been bringing the sounds of David's Psalms into recordings. You can find a lot of my music on my website, www.calmingharp.com. I have CDs available and MP3s. And you can go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube and then type in Peregrinati, Peregrinnatti, you will find hours of beautiful harp music that you can just play in the background and be calmed with the music that David may have played for his sheep at one time or another. So as we share this half hour, join me and enjoy the sounds of David's harp. Well, thank you for joining me for the next episode, number 47, of Hebrew radio episodes that I've been recording almost a year now. I never thought I'd get this far, but here we are. So thank you for joining me again. I'm going to be playing some music from the Living Waters album. No, actually it's the Harp Meditation album, a piece called Living Water. And I'm going to play it in the background as I share some thoughts with you. I'm also at the end of the music of the harp. I'm going to be including a piece from my son, who is really beginning to put some really interesting stuff up on YouTube. I'm going to give you the link in the description below, and I really encourage you to go subscribe to his site. He's really beginning to come out with some really great stuff. Makes me proud to be his father. I have two great sons, and Micah, the one who's doing this recording, is down in Australia, and then my other son Gabriel up in Washington is doing some great stuff up there with a glass business for commercial and residential in the town of Poulsbo, Washington State. And they both are going through their challenges, but they also are both coming out victorious, and I'm proud of both of them. And I just love sharing them with you when I get a chance. So anyway, somebody wrote me that they were happy that I was using their Uncle Angus's material in some of my readings, and they were from South Africa, where Angus Butkins lives on Shalom Farm. And I'm going to quote out of him again. This is called A Different Spirit, and it's talking about Caleb. And when Israel sent the spies into the land, and Joshua and Caleb had a good report and the other 10 had a negative report. And that's once again shows you that the majority is very seldom who we should be listening to. They tend to get drawn away by the emotions of the moment. But Caleb had a different spirit, as Angus writes. He had a spirit of faith. He looked at the mountain and it became a molehill in his sight. because everything he did, he dedicated to the Lord. As I think of this, I'm reminded of David, who looked at Goliath and didn't see a giant, but rather an opportunity for God to be magnified and glorified. And that's why I'm including my son's talk, because he references this as well. Your answer will give you insight to the kind of spirit you have. Paul told Timothy in 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And I've been quoting that text so frequently during these last 18 months, when so much fear has been displayed and evidenced on so many people's lives, and the media and other sources that people depend on for their information have been seemingly ramping up that fear through the way they have been framing their reporting. So in order for you to access this power, love, and the resultant sound mind, you will need to submit yourself to God. We are talking about an all-out commitment, one that acknowledges God as everything in your life. This is the kind of person Caleb was. The other scouts responded by saying, "Well, we went into the land where you sent us. It really does flow with milk and honey, and there's a lot of fruit there, but nevertheless, the people who dwell there in that land are strong. The cities are fortified with very large." So they were looking at the problems. And then Caleb responded, "Well, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it." He knew who was on his side. The other scouts were just thinking about what they thought they had the power to do. You see the difference in the two reports? The one was all about difficulties, and the other was all about possibilities. Was Caleb's response one that was based upon positive thinking? Was he just a positive thinker kind of guy, took the latest seminar? No, not at all. "If the Lord delights in us," he said, "then he will bring us into this land and give it to us." There's the key. If the Lord delights in us. If we are committed to him, then he will be committed to us. Their protection has departed from them, he said, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. Caleb knew his God, and it was this knowledge that resulted in him having a different spirit. And my challenge for myself and each one of us today is to have that different spirit. There continues to be a spirit of fear on the land. There are so many reports saying, "Oh, there's a new this and a new that, and there's going to be trouble this and trouble that." But we don't have to accept that fear. We don't have to play into that. A friend of mine even called it pornographic fear. It's designed to elicit these gut responses from us. And the Father has given us the way not to fall victim to that. So this is Calming Harp. It's about the Psalms of David. And so today we're going to look a little bit more at David. What was his position? What allowed him to walk up to that giant and have an audacious certainty that he would succeed in killing him and routing the Philistine army? What gave him that confidence? And I would dare say it was his relationship with the Heavenly Father. His times of quietness he spent in the pastures with the sheep, possibly playing the harp, as I talk about. I still want to sit down with David in the kingdom and get his versions, because I think we're going to be close, but I think he's going to have some things to teach me. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he will. Anyway, I'm going to let this music play for a little bit, and then I'm going to bring in my son's talk. It's called The Mission, and I hope you enjoy it. And please, down at the bottom, I'm going to put the link to his channel for YouTube. I would really appreciate if you would listen to it, subscribe to it, and tell as many people as you can about what he's doing. His understanding of rak chazak, the Hebrew word for take courage, have unabated courage in your God. And I think that is the word for our day, rak chazak amatz. So listen to the music, and then my son will close out this episode of Calming Harp.
for those of us who have chosen to take a stand. Every day gets harder. Every day I walk, I see more restricted. Every day I get angry. Every day I get frustrated. Every day I wake up and I pray that Yahweh would avenge his people. In a very small way, I think we're beginning to recognize what David went through. David went from the highest highs to the lowest lows and right back up to the highest highs. And the highest of all highs was Yeshua was born of his lineage. But think about it. Here we have David as a young child, as a sheep herder. He kills the lion with the sling. Then all Israel, their hearts are failing against the Philistines. And David comes along to bring food to his brothers, and he hears this giant boasting, and he says, "Who is this who stands against us, against the armies of the living God?" And he went out and he took his sling and he slew the giant. He played the harp for Saul. He was in the presence of the king. But Saul wanted to kill him. And so David ran. And he was persecuted by the Israelites and the Philistines both. He was sent out to live in a cave in the wilderness so that his enemies wouldn't find him. And yet, when he had the chance to take his vengeance, he didn't. Because he said, vengeance belongs to the Lord. He said, not by my hand will I harm the king of Israel. Even though everyone that was with him said, surely the Lord has given Saul into your hands. But David said no. And then Saul was killed and David was anointed king. He was back. And he had many ups and downs in his life, but some of the most powerful psalms were written during his time in the wilderness, when he said, avenge me of my enemies. Deliver me from their grasp. But yet David, if we look at the definition of Rak Hazak, that was David. David had that certainty of success, though he was downtrodden, though he was humbled. Yet he was learning. And his mighty men came to him during that time. And they became great in the eyes of the nations around him and in the eyes of Yahweh. They became feared because of their trust and fear of Yahweh. Nowadays, when I look around and I walk down the streets and I think about all the things that have been taken away all the things that I've had to walk away from, all the things that are coming in the future, all the rules and the regulations and possibilities for persecution and jail time and everything else that goes along with it. And I think, in my mind, Yahweh, avenge your people. Your people, the set apart believers nowadays in these last days, avenge your people. But my rock hazak is the audacious certainty of success. It's not being afraid of them. It's the certainty of the end success. It's the certainty that Yahweh is the righteous judge, and that in His time He will judge. He will judge the individuals and He will judge the nations. He will judge all of us. And those not found in the book of life will be cast into the lake. What we endure now, what we persevere now, we all knew was coming. Doesn't make it any easier. Doesn't make anything any easier. We have the hope in a future and a life with Yeshua, where He will wipe away all of our tears. He will heal the nations. He will heal our hearts. We will find rest. And there will be peace forevermore. Not as peace as anything we could experience now, but only peace that Yeshua can give. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to get angry. I do every day. My thought today was, why do I want to participate, even try and participate in a society that has forgotten me or felt that it's okay to discriminate against me? And the sole reason is that Yeshua said these times will come. But He also said there will be a great harvest. That there's people that need what He brings, who He is, what He has. The time is short and we must work while we have time. If our focus is on these things that are going on around us, then our focus is not on Yeshua. And if our focus is not on Yeshua, we will not be able to stand in these last days. But I say every morning I wake up, I ask Yahweh for forgiveness, repent of my sins, and ask that He give me the strength to stand, that I might be able to persevere in the face of what seems to be all-consuming darkness, but with the realization that the light of Yahweh is with me, and that where the light of Yahweh is, the darkness cannot be. That the darkness must flee in the presence of light. We are light bearers. Now's not the time to get downtrodden. Now's not the time to get angry and frustrated and focused on what we see. But now is the time to focus on that which we don't. And understand that we are bearers of light. And understand that we are fully equipped to push back the darkness. The light has not gone from the world yet.
So I hope you've enjoyed our time together. Stay tuned, as I say. Little pun. I have many more songs to share with you. I have more to share about how this all comes together. And I pray that you will share and help people, especially those you see stressed, especially in these times that we're going through. Bring people to this calming and this peace and this rest that this beautiful music of the Psalms of David brings to each of our lives. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you next week. Many, many blessings to you all today.